Hello gamers, back with another episode of Beyond the Emulator. In this episode, I will be sharing my first boot and setup of GammaOS version 1.4.1, the Nano firmware for the Trimui Brick, getting things set up for further testing and gameplay. I've provided the GammaOS links below. This is a Patreon membership project, so it's not publicly available at this time. So sit back, grab your Trimui Brick or hammer, and follow along to see if there's something you can adjust to get better gameplay and performance, as we are going to be going beyond the emulator. And lastly, if you enjoy these handheld videos, drop a like and maybe subscribe to my page. I've also created a Trimui Retro helpline on Discord if you're interested. Details below. Thank you and enjoy. Now, without keeping you in further suspense, let's get started. Hello gamers, and welcome back to another episode of Beyond the Emulator, and we're going to take a first boot today on GammaOS Nano version 1.4.1 for the Trimui Brick. I installed the Nano version 1.4 and did a video to share, but I was having some issues, so I held back on that, and now that there's been a recent update, I'd like to share it again. So what we're going to do is I've also installed it already in an A2 micro SD card using the firmware. I had to be a patron supporter to be able to get this release. So if you're interested, I will include the link as well in my details. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a first boot, get things set up, and then I'm going to go ahead and shut down, and we'll go ahead and I'll load some ROMs and BIOS in the background, and then we'll do a second boot up showing more detail about how the system works and what it offers and features. So to begin with it, we're going to go ahead and hit power. Running it on this Trimui Brick, this white edition. So there's quite a few things while it's loading for GammaOS that's new. They've got new themes, new DSi dark theme, accent colors across the DSi look, the game library, global favorites, custom collections, Drastic Nano is set up for NDS. We've got USB file transfer using MTP. Got an on-screen keyboard. And we're actually running a dual system. So what we're doing is there's actually an Android edition, and then there's actually a Lineage edition. If you were familiar with what was being run on the TSP, that was a Lineage Android firmware that was being run, and it had the Daishu launcher as well. This will have the same thing. Here we go. Got our front screen. We're going to go ahead and press A. We're going to go ahead and select our language as English. Let's go ahead and find our time. We are going to be close to Los Angeles, but I think we're going the wrong direction. We've got Pacific. For some reason, I'm not able to locate it as quickly as I thought I would. There we go, there's Pacific. We'll go ahead and press enter. It's going to go ahead and set up for the first time the Android service and drivers. We want to adjust the setting for connection to the internet, correct. So we're going to go ahead and use a wireless connection. We're going to scan it. I'm going to go ahead and locate my Wi-Fi. We're going to go ahead and put the password in. 1 second. We're going to go ahead and proceed with getting connected to the internet. If we want to prefer a connection test, we can go ahead and do that. And we've got an IP address. So we're going to go ahead and skip that. We're going to go ahead and register to the device. We're going to go ahead and skip that actually for the Bluetooth at this moment. Now we're configuring GammaOS. So now it's loading all the files onto the system. Yep, sorry about that. So it's very small print. We can try and bring it in a little bit. But you can see it's actually loading all the files. It'll be loading all the different emulators in RetroArch. Another one of the notes that it has is a faster and more stable big ROM freeze and quick resume boot loop fixed, snappier and more reliable Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, and a batch of black screen hang and setup crashes squashed. So there was bugs that were going on in version 1.4 have been resolved by GammaOS, and now this is the latest version. So while it's going through this process, we just have to wait. We'd say it takes a few minutes to get things set up. Now it's installing RetroArch. Might need a set of glasses to be able to see the view very well. What we'll do as well is we'll set up a mouse to be able to use for the cursor. Sometimes that'll help out with a little bit more on the navigation. Again, we're installing GammaOS Nano version 1.4.1 on the Trimui Brick. It's going through a few more files to load. Definitely some small print. There we go, we're almost to the end. We're definitely going to be loading some ROMs and BIOS on this for a couple of the platforms, so we can do some game testing as well when I come back. I would say the SD card file is about a little over 4 gigs. So basically it's extracting it, getting things set up for both types of systems on the Nano. I would say it's been about 3.5 minutes. So just be patient. Looks like we're done here. We're going to go ahead and continue. We're all set, and we're going to be able to start the device. And there we go. Here's our front end, which is more like a PlayStation front end. You can see applications, video, music, photos, and settings. So what I'm going to go ahead and do, we're going to stop at this moment here. I'm going to go ahead and load some ROMs and BIOS, come back, and be able to show a little bit more in depth on how this system works. So, GammaOS version 1.4.1. So we are back after we did a first boot, and now that we've got some ROMs in there, I've got a couple games that I've tested out, but I wanted to be able to kind of show you we're on the Nano side. A couple of the customization and menu settings that are available here before we get to games. So what I did was I kind of made a small list of things to make sure I key in on to share with you. So if we start from the beginning here, we've got a quick menu. In our quick menu, you've got screen brightness, you've got performance mode. It's already defaulted at max performance, but you're able to make some changes. You've got quick settings, which also opens up into a sub-menu for Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, again, performance mode, global shaders, which are really cool. We've got them off right now, but I will show you how those work. You've also got RGB for the lights to make your changes. Right now the effect is off. You've got the Gamma EQ. You've got a couple other options: screen mapping, deep sleep mode, swapping, D-pad analog swap. A couple other adjustments there in the quick settings. If we go over to system settings, it's going to actually open up an Android menu here that you're very familiar with. If you were ever to try out on the Trimui Smart Pro, the GammaOS beta version, which I've showed some videos of, you'll see that this menu is also as well. A couple of the applications, you can go to apps if you wanted to delete an application, device, Bluetooth, accessories, and accessibility. So you can dig into that. Not much to really share there. Let's go ahead and get back out of that. So we go over to the quick menu. Keep going down, you've got global shaders. So this is a little nifty tool. You go over to it and you open it up with a shader. And right now it's in a setup as off, but if I wanted to change it to a CRT or an LCD 3 times or custom, you can get some different screens. So if I go with the CRT, gives me that TV image, a little rounded on the corners here. If I go back, I can go LCD. It's going to give me some small grid lines there. We'll go ahead and select LCD, a little bit clear. We go blur fill. It's a little bit of a blur the way the lettering is. Got a custom one here. So if you want to play around with those, we're just going to reset to default. We'll go with the shader and we'll play around. Let's go with the CRT for a little bit on some of our settings. So kind of showing you that information. Notifications, USB settings. So basically the easiest way to transfer your files is using the MTP, Media Transfer Protocol. By plugging a USB into here to your computer, it'll allow the SD card to be able to be shown as a volume for where your ROMs will be located and your BIOS and other files. So that's suggested there. You're able to close your current apps. You can set up a screen orientation. You can kill all your apps. If you go into here for power, basically this will allow us to boot into Android, and that'll be the other side of the device of their firmware. You've got two sides. There's like a lineage version of a light Android, and then there's an Android 13, I believe, that's running. So show you how that works. Go to power. And then it brings us back over here to screen brightness. Then we go out of here. We can go to our settings menu. And it provides a user guide, a system update if there was one necessary. This is where it gets kind of fun, is you've got game settings. So what we're going to do is first off, so I can get a better image for you, we'll go into global shaders. We'll turn it off. Give us a little bit more clear of an image. We'll go to settings. We're going to game settings. So in this particular file here, you've got really two options that would be used the most: be game systems and box art scraper. So for box art scraper, basically you'll be able to scrape it. You can add your screen scraper user information or your games DB API key, and you could set up for how you want to scrape your artwork here. So you could scrape all the systems, you could scrape specific. You can set them up with icons with box art, hover background artwork. You can even overwrite. So pretty straightforward, and I'll show you another menu that'll allow that as well individually. But for the game systems, this is what it's going to do, is it's going to allow you the core options that are set up in the device. So they're all set up as either a standalone or RetroArch. So for example, we would go to Game Boy Advance. This is set up right now as an on. We're going to go ahead and click A to open. It's going to open, and it's enabled because my games are listed. I have Drill Dozer to show off. So it's been displayed. You could change your display name, your short name. Your launch type actually is the Librito cores. So we're using them for RetroArch, which we're using the RetroArch 1.22.1 version. So if I go ahead and select my emulator, these are going to be the listed all emulator cores that could be used for Game Boy Advance. So there's MGBA, there's the particular different versions here. We've got Medenfa GBA, we've got Pizza Boy GBA Basic, we've got a Fast Emulator.GBA free. So there's quite a variety of emulator cores that can be used. Now if we go out of here and it said Librito core and we click on it and we go to custom package, it's going to basically open up the same cores that are available. There's some custom ones listed here. So as you can see, this would be the standard one here. We're going to go ahead and select that. So it also provides you your extensions if you wanted to scan, and if you also wanted to do the scraping your artwork as well, all right then the emulator options. So going over to Nintendo 64 is actually another good one. We're going to go ahead and select A. We're going to go ahead and select, instead of the Librito core, we're going to go to custom package. And what it's going to do is it's going to offer as well the RetroArch cores as well as the Mupen 64 Plus cores. There's the alpha version, there's the for Zurita version, and then we've got a for Zurita Pro. We've got Pulse code also Mupen 64 Plus AE. And then you've also got your RetroArch 64 options as well. So some to really play with to kind of see if there's something that might work better for you to get a game running. Lots to see. Again, it goes down and shows what files will be able to be available for extensions. So we want to make sure that those files are categorized right in those right folders. The other one that we have that I noted down was the PlayStation. So we go over here. We've got the Librito cores, and you're going to see that it's listed PCSX rearmed, but you've also got three other options. We've got the EPSXE option, we've got the Beetle PSX, and the Beetle PSX HW version, which you've seen on probably some other Trimui devices for some of their RetroArch cores. So that's kind of a cool little feature that they have. Lots of options to be able to try with, see if something can get going. So we'll go ahead and get out of that. We'll get out of that. And next option we've got down here in this menu is video settings. And basically what it's doing is it's setting up for IPTV channels. So we've got it actually on. And if you had a URL, you could include it here. It's going to open up a menu. There we go. You'll be able to type in that URL for that IPTV to be able to add for your playlist. And music settings as well. You've got internet radio, it's on, as well as a radio playlist URL to be able to be included. Then we go down to system settings. And you can see we've got the name, the language, your storage, your system information. We're running off the GammaOS 1.4.1, the light version. It is actually an Android 14. We're going to use our right trigger. It's a model GammaOS core. And this was the recent build that was just done. So it gives me my IP address and my space of my 128 gigabyte card. So I haven't added a lot of games. I've just done a few just to get things set up and tested. So you have developer options, you've got theme options. So themes, this is where I've been able to get my orange background and my icons to be in color. You could go in here, you could add video wallpaper, you could add a wave if we've got it. So now in the background we'll show you there'll be some themes. Here we've got the home theme, so you've got choices. Right now we were currently using the Minima, We could go with the GammaOS XMB. And you can see how my screen has changed now, where we were over by game settings, media servers, internet radio, IPTV, and recently played. So we're going to go back in down to our settings. We've got our themes, date and time, power saving, accessories, gamepad, slide behavior, GammaOS toolbox. We've got immersive mode on. There's some tweaks that you can go in here and make adjustments on. We've got a file explorer, network shares. We've got GammaOS RGB for the lighting effects as well, display, sound, and network. So this is where you would go to your network so you'd be able to connect to your Wi-Fi. So we go ahead and get out of that. And what we'll do is we're going to search for media servers. So this is actually in photos. Well, right now I don't currently have any photos in here, so I'm not be able to do any searching, but what we're going to do is move on to the internet radio or search for media servers if we had something connected online with an IP address. We're going to go to internet radio, and what is offered is there's 3 different categories here, 1 to J, K to R, and R to Z. We're going to go with the Z. We're going to go ahead and just hit a station here. Turn up our volume. Based on my Wi-Fi, it is a little bit. See if we can get a station that is working. There is a sub-menu by pressing X, and actually Y can change your background. So you could have different themes, plasma, fire, aurora. See if we can get a radio station to work. There's over 120 radio stations, but I've had some difficulty getting a few of them working. Let's see if we can go back. We just want to get some sound. I had it working earlier when I was testing it. I apologize. So we can find something that might work. 70s and 80s. Oh, there we go. Might be a buffer that we need to set up. So I think we've got some buffer issues we have to test out and see if we could get more of it to work a little bit ahead of time. But here's an example of a little radio, and then it actually is still playing in the background. We're going to go ahead and exit out of that. We're actually going to go to the IPTV for videos. And you can see actually the same thing. We're listing channels. We're just going to hit weather. See if we can get the weather channel to work. It's going to turn off the music. It's basically kind of like a IPTV, of course, is providing some networks. Here we go. AccuWeather. So we've actually got the network running here, showing the radar of the United States from the AccuWeather channel. So that can be used. You'll have to just play around and see what works best for you. We'll go ahead and get out of that. So again, these are just quick examples. I feel like when it's closing down each of the applications, there's a little bit of a lag or a delay. So we're going to go back over to settings really quick. We're going to make one quick change. We're going to go to our themes. We're going to go to our home theme. We're going to go with the DSI menu. Give you a different way of looking at things. We're going to go to games that way. So here what we've done is I've set it up. Now we've got a different menu front end for the theme. Just like everything else, recently played. We've got applications. So these are the tabs that are in there as application and games. You've got built-in Aurora Store, the Diashu front-end launcher. You've got the Drastic emulator core, your files, Flycast, M64 Plus FZ, which is a standalone, a Mix Explorer, the PPSSPP, which is actually the latest 1.20.3 version, and RetroArch. So those are different that are in the applications. Now we've got some favorites, and then you've got your platforms. So right now we've got NES, Super NES, Game Boy Advance, Nintendo 64, Nintendo DS, Genesis, Master System, PlayStation, PSP, Dreamcast, and Neo Geo Pocket, and Pico 8. So I have a few platforms I wanted to kind of show off. So let me go ahead and do that next. So we're up to game time, and I changed my theme back over to the Miyoo or Miyoo type of theme. It's just easier for me to be able to go through the platforms. I'm more applicable to that way. So if we go down, you've got recently played, we've got applications again. This just shows you the different items that are there as well. When we switch over to the Android version, you'll see the same applications will be there as well. Favorites, you've got recently played. These are the games that I've actually played right now. Gradius, Banjo-Kooie, Hyper Final Fight 3, Contra Adventure, Drill Dozer, the PSP game, Musou, Orochi 2 Special, and Contra Hard Corps. So basically these were just examples that I was playing around with. We could open up any of these, but if I go ahead and press X from here, you can see a sub-menu comes up. You could start it, rename it, you could scrape it. We could set the box art. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and scrape this game. Box art scraper is going to open up. We have not put any credentials in. It would go faster that way. Let's see how long. Should be able to locate that game, I hope. There it is. So we've got it done. We're going to go ahead and get out of that. So you can see there's a background and some artwork. So if we go over here to the platform it was on, you can see it's given us a background for our artwork, and it's actually slightly moving just a little bit, slide to left to the right, and then you've got some artwork here. So again, we could press X from here. We could set our box art if we wanted to change anything there. So we're going to go ahead and proceed by pressing A. Let's go ahead with Contra Hard Corps. So it jumped actually into our game. If I press the menu key, there's my RetroArch menu. We're using the Genesis Plus GX core. So what we're going to do is restart the game. You can see my frames per second are up in my right hand corner. Good image on the screen. We'll go ahead and select. We'll turn down the volume just a snap. We'll go through its little prompts. And there we go. Here's our example. Not a problem. Screen's working great. So here's our example. Going to press menu. You've got the same situation with RetroArch. I'm going to do a save state. It'll save it. We can go ahead and get out of this by closing the content. And it's going to take me back to my menu. So there would be my example there. With Genesis, we'll go back up to my recently played. We've got Gradius by Super NES. Go ahead and press open. This is from an autosave state that I already had. Working just fine. So some of these smaller, older games work really well on the Brick. I would say, just again, still sticking up to at least PSP. I wouldn't go any further than that. Maybe some light games, I wouldn't push it too hard. But game is working fine. Press the menu. We'll go ahead and close the contact. And again, that's using the Nestopia core that was set up. But if you wanted to change your Super NES, we could go in there and change that core. So we're going to go ahead and get out of this. If I went and press X, it's going to show there. If I press Y, it's going to give us actually more of a description and detail, showing us what core is being used. If we go back and we go to Super NES, I want to say I press X, and that's where I can manage my game systems. So I'm going to go to A. We're going to go ahead and change our core. See if we can get one down here. There's quite a few of them actually listed. We're going to use a standard core. So we're going to use the Super NES 9X Plus. We're going to go ahead and back out of this. We're going to go back to our games. We're going to go to Super NES. And we're going to go with Demolition Man. Oh, emulator not installed. That's because it's not reading it, because we have to still download it. So that'll be a little trickier before. See where we were at just a minute ago. It was actually NES. So we're going to boot back up. There's our game. And it's still showing Nestopia. So that must be part of the core. I'm not sure why it's not changing. That'll be something to look into a little bit further. But that would be an example for the NES. I'm a little unsure why we were maybe mixed up on what we were looking for. So I actually was I was in the Super NES, not the NES, if we were going to go ahead and get a game. So sorry if I confused you folks. Let's go ahead and go with what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and press X. We're going to manage our system here. We're going to go with the Librito cores. We're going to go with Super NES 9X. This is what we were after. We're going to go back and go on. We're going to go to Games, Super NES. We're going to go with Demolition Man. If we press X again, we can scrape the artwork. Again, these are just examples that can be done on the Trimui Brick using the GammaOS version for the Trimui Brick version 1.4.1 Nano. Just looking for artwork. Battery seems to be holding up. The back panel does get a little bit warm. So here's our artwork. We're going to go ahead and open up Demolition Man on Super NES. If I press start, sometimes it'll actually show my joystick is being configured. So my D-pad. Jump right to the game. Again, if I press menu, it would go to RetroArch. And there we go. Working beautifully. Working beautifully. Whoops, did a little fall there. So if I do press my menu key, I would get the Super NES 9X menu. So correct. I had mistakenly confused you with the NES and Super NES on that, so my fail. So we'll go ahead and close that out as my other example. We'll go back. We've got Game Boy Advance. Oh, we had Game Boy Advance. Oh, I think we might have accidentally hidden it. So let's go over to our, by accident, I believe it got system saying game settings, game systems. Not showing my Game Boy Advance. There we go. It should be enabled. Let's go back down to our games. Let's go down to our recently played. There we are. We'll just go with Drill Dozer here. If I press Y, I can get information. Setup as actually the GPSP core. Let's see if it runs. There we go. Auto loading. Working again really well. So, not a problem. Everything is working great. Good image on the screen. Doing really well with GammaOS OS Nano. So, go ahead and press my menu. We're using the GPSP core. And we'll go ahead and get out of that. We're going to hit 2 more to kind of show you this side of the GammaOS OS Nano, and then we're going to show you the other side on the Android with the Daishu launcher. So we'll go ahead and go with the Contra Adventure. That's my PSX game. So it is a very complete package. Lots to offer here. Lots to be able to go in and adjust and tweak. I do not have any of my BIOS set up for my PlayStation, but it does still work. Going to go ahead and see if I have a save state or a load state. There we go. Went right to my load state. Perfect. This is Contra Adventure. Audio's a little rough. There might be some slight adjustments that need to be made. I know we're doing a lot of run and gun shooting today, but I've been on a kick for some of these games. So again, go to menu. We're using the PCSX rearmed core. So that gives you the example there. We'll go ahead and select out of that. Should bring us back to our menu. There we go. And then lastly, I'm going to show off a PSP game. We'll go ahead and select that. So to be able to get this version, you need to be able to be a Patreon supporter. You can have a membership. It's not very much. It's a monthly fee. It allows you to be able to get these releases before they're made to the public. This particular version is actually looking for the internet, so there's a little bit of a delay there. There we go. So opening my menu key again, it's going to give me my PSP version. I'm going to go ahead and hit a load state. We're going to go back to a game that I was already currently playing. We're going to have to make a few adjustments here. Going to go to my settings. We're going to go to my controls. We're running at a one-time resolution. Control mapping. So what we have to do here is we need to select our D-pad and take it to the analog stick. So analog up, we're going to go ahead and put that there. Analog down, we're going to go ahead and select that. Left and right. So then the D-pad is being used for the game. We'll go ahead and continue. Now it allows me to do my movement and swing my long stick baton. So when we're going to battle, My movement is okay, running a little bit just under 30 frames per second. But again, we're trying a heavier game to see how it goes. Image is not too bad. A little bit of a jump. We could set up some frame skip probably. I believe it's going to allow us to get over here. We're going to have to go this way. Catches us in battle. There is a little bit of lag. But I mean, it is functionally working. There we go. It's playable if you want to deal with it. So there is an example of that as well. We'll go ahead and put it on pause. Go ahead and get out of that example. You can see we'll exit out of that. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and select out of this. We're going to go over here and press our menu, or actually power button. And what it does is it opens up another submenu for restarting, power off, recovery, safe mode, or boot Android. We're going to go ahead and boot into Android, and it's going to open up to the Miyoo launcher. So, just before that, we're going to swap. Booting Android. So now it's going to provide us the Miyoo launcher, which is going to have the same games platformed on there, and as well as the applications. We're not going to go into any more detail on what the gameplay is set up. Everything is already set up. It's just a different way of how you want to use it. It doesn't have all the extra features that were on the Nano side that I shared with earlier. If your games are all set up and the ROMs and the BIOS are placed all correctly, you could use the Miyoo launcher, very similar to what was being offered on the TSP. And it could be game and play. You wouldn't be doing any tweaks or making adjustments with cores or anything. But if you want to, there's just a little bit more of a learning curve on it as well. And you're able to go into run some of these as standalone as well. But we will test one game, the N64. We'll go with the Banjo-Kooie. We'll open it up, and I can share with you the standalone N64 emulator. So it's booting up. What's your thoughts? Do you like it? Are you interested? Is it something that you'd like to put on your Trimui Brick? What games would you be playing on it? Put some comments down below if you'd like, if you're interested. I think it's a really nice firmware. It's got a lot to offer, a lot to be able to tweak if you want to get into some settings and play around. You can do some customization as well. Just another option that's offered out there. So here's the Miyoo launcher, very similar to what you've seen before. There we go. So if you go down below, you can see the different platforms that we already have. So again, if we go to PSP, you can see there's my games that are listed. We're going to go ahead and X out of there, and they already have the actual artwork. It's actually been downloaded there. For some reason, one of the games has actually been added onto this side, but it's not showing up on the other side. We're going to go back. We're going to go down. We're going to go to Nintendo 64. And I've got Banjo-Kooie. So we're going to go ahead and select that as my last game example. I think the back panel does warm up a little bit, something of concern to maybe some people. I don't think it's too much of a major issue. So now it's opened up this standalone emulator core for N64. That will disappear there. We'll go ahead and press our menu key and go back to a previous save state. So when I press my menu, it opens up on the left-hand corner, very similar to the Android version, because that's what it is. We're going to go down. We're going to load our slot 1. Go ahead and press A. And it jumped right into my N64 game. Audio sounds okay. Go through this quick scenario of trying to use the camera. So it's not allowing us how we want. We would have to, oh, there we go. So using the right, it does give us that. But there's where we were back at the house. We're going to go back this way. There we go. Now it's turning us the right direction. And we're on our merry way. Going to go up the hill. But working well. I know it's a little bit of a struggle on the D-pad to be able to play this game, but this particular game works really well. No problem jumping. Great. So again, we're going to go ahead and press menu. If we wanted to change or do a screenshot or game speed, you'd be able to go and make those selections there. So we'll go ahead and exit. We're going to go ahead and press OK. If there was any applications that are Android applications, you are more than welcome to actually add some of them and see if they work. Here's if we use the left and right triggers. We're going over to applications. These are the same ones that were listed on the Nano side: Aurora Store, Drastic, Flycast, M64, PPSP, RetroArch. There is the internet browser. I have not had a lot of success with it opening and using. I've tried it with a mouse for navigation. But I feel it's still in its early stages, so I don't really want to share that at this moment. But if you wanted to go to add an application, that's again where you'd be able to connect your USB to your computer and be able to put those folders or applications, APKs, into your files and then be able to go and open those up and see if they work. I'd be interested in trying another front-end launcher. I know Beacon or ESDE have worked on the TSP. Might be interested to see if they'll work as well on the Trimui Brick running GammaOS version 1.4.1 Nano. So this would be my example, my first boot, setup, and some gameplay. I hope you enjoyed it. And from Beyond the Emulator, happy gaming.